Hello, and welcome to Wyverns and Weirdos, the Dungeons and Dragons podcast set in the world of Fierlor. Uh, so, uh, all we have to say, unless someone has something additional, is the usual things of like, share, subscribe on your platform of choice, and here. All the platforms, like, let people know about us. It's the best way if you like what we do to support us. And if you're watching at episode 66, you probably like us. I'm gonna guess at this point, like it's been like almost 3 years.
Thank you very much.
However,
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
However, if this is your first episode, hi, welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to Wyverns and Weirdos. Glad for you to join us. Why the fuck are you starting here? Don't do that.
Like-
we have bonus episodes, we have other podcasts, and we also are linear in structure.
Yes.
So
we had
back.
Yeah, we had a decent jumping on point a little bit ago. But yeah, no, don't start at 66. Don't start in the middle of an arc.
At least wait for the magic number and then
Yes.
jump in, you know?
Yes. If you're a long time listener, watcher, whatever, and you feel like you want to support the show a bit more, or even just that you want to get some merch or some access to some cool D&D mechanics and early access and all that kind of stuff, we do have a Patreon for early access and notes and stats and homebrew. Or we have the Redbubble if you want something a bit more material, like a shirt or a water bottle or a book. By that, I mean a notebook. We don't have novels yet. Who knows? In 20 years' time, if we're still doing this. Anyway, unless anyone else has something to add, without further ado, let's jump into another episode of Wyverns and Weirdos. So, where we last left off, the party took a few days from a personal standpoint, while also kind of others off to do some work. There's also quite a bit of interpersonal stuff as well, between Bertie's transformation to his summer season, and Anya and co talking with Yadel about the way forward, and Neumann and Sam carousing and performing for the tavern. But we also had our first intrigue, our first 4 rounds, I believe, of domain turns. So the party are kind of up with those domain turns on their communications in particular, as well as just some information and resources and the like. Although resources not so much mechanically, but there's still time. So, as we come into, I believe it is 20 days before the deadline that you were given, what would folks like to do? And if there's anything you want to jump back over the course of the past 4 days of intrigue that we kind of breezed over as domain turns, feel free to cover that as well. But yes.
You go, Zoe.
Mine is a little involved, so I'll just say what it is and then we'll see whose we do first. Ross actually needs to go and buy some spell components at some point, but they're probably going to be a little tricky to find in New Arcadia, and she would also ask Neumann to come with her and suggest they both disguise themselves, finally, as like a set of twins. Not twin tieflings, unfortunately, but just to look like siblings. And then go out and go shopping for spell components.
Okay. While I search for my notes on prices here, Anya, what are you?
I was mostly me, not Anya, just going to suggest that we could perhaps just have a morning meeting scene to touch base on the things that we'd done and sort of start prepping to hit our next target. But that can very much sort of wait until after the little Ross Neumann moment, as I can imagine that probably happened during the days that we were doing intrigue work.
Yeah, welcome to 10 minutes of a shopping app, everyone. We're gonna try and make it quick. So yeah, Ross would talk to Ross would let Neumann pick what they look like.
Let's
since
go.
they both have disguise self.
So he does have disguise self as a spell as well, which I believe has to be somewhat similar to his
Within a foot.
within a foot. So he would go. He'd definitely make himself look shorter. Yeah, definitely not a. I don't know. I don't want to say he probably doesn't want to look like a Tabaxi because that's super sus. So maybe just like a very tall. Let's go. Ooh, Earth Kharasi.
Ooh.
How does that fit, Darby?
They're not particularly common, but you do know that there was a you faced a representative of the Wizards of the Ruins who was an Earth Kharasi, so you're aware that they do exist
bold
among
man.
you know they exist amongst their ranks.
All right. And how much does Neumann know about Earth Kharasi? Actually, he's going to think about this. We're in enemy territory. He wants to disguise himself as something he's well aware of.
Roll me a history check.
I will do that, Darby, in just a short while whilst it's all loading up. But can we, just for the sake of time, can we just say I rolled a natural 20? Just
no.
hypothetically. All right. Worth a shot. Okay, here we go. History?
Yeah.
Cool. So I would like so close to a natural 20. 22.
Okay, so 22. So you know a decent amount of Kharasi. Kharasi or Alistar, as they are sometimes known, come from areas of elemental power. They are not so much a race, or an ancestry, but there are some who kind of have this genetic line, much like that, and might be descended from earth elementals, but it tends to be that someone will be influenced as part of a planar conflux, and they will become an Earth Kharasi, or an Earth-touched Alistar, as it's often more academically known. So they're typically resistant to poison, or sometimes resistant to poison, and have some sort of ability occasionally to burrow through the earth. Although, of course, this does vary from like how much this planar energy has influenced the physical form. They are typically grey or brown or orange in skin tone, very earthen colours, and while they don't look like their skin is rock, it does have a rough look and texture to it, more so than other ancestries like human and elf and the like.
Cool. Yeah, we're going with that. I'm happy with that.
Okay.
Cool. So whatever kind of Earth Genasi Neumann makes himself look like, Ross will make herself look like that Genasi's twin sister.
Okay.
And then we'll probably ask the bartender or some such for directions to the component shop that would sell diamonds, and then would head out with Neumann.
All right. So, in order to find a location that is going to have, because you sent me the value of diamonds that you want, or at the very least, alternatively, spell scrolls that you want.
Yep.
Those are hard to find at the best of times. So I'm going to need you to roll me... I think because of the disguise, you can choose to either roll me an investigation or a persuasion check as you kind of ask around. For asking the bartender to kind of point you in the right direction, I'll give you advantage on that.
Oh, cool. I was going to say, if you weren't going to give me advantage, I would have used lucky or my inspiration. Oh, wait, no. I'll use both my critical roll dice.
Just a reminder, you can use lucky after you've rolled, even on advantage or disadvantage.
Okay. I would like to use that, please. I'm using one of my charges of lucky. Okay. Oh, that was a 6 and a 1. That's better. That is 18 on the dice. So if I use it was persuasion or investigation?
Yeah.
Persuasion, which makes it 30.
Oh. Okay. So, what kind of... Describe to me, are you trying to disguise yourself as a commoner or a magister of some sort, or...
Ooh, I've been waiting to do this. She would have disguised herself to look like... Well, again, she and Neumann look like twins. She would have told Neumann he can dress however he wants. She would have made herself look like the frazzled receptionist of one of the Magisters. Like someone whose job it is to acquire components and organize meetings and stuff like that.
Okay.
You know, that kind of thing.
Okay.
I'm assuming the wizards have receptionists. They're academics.
Yeah. So, based on that, so you're able to manage to finagle your way into one of the higher brow, I guess, magic shops and component shops in the city, which is in the, let me double check if I have the name of the district here, in one of my documents. But it is, so it is in the Questo Indigo. So, home to a great number of libraries, museums, archives, as well as some, as it kind of edges into the Empyrean Bazaar, there are some very high-end stores. And you walk into one that is Besto de Questo.
Besto de Questo.
Yes. And you walk in, and it is run by. You walk in, and you see behind the counter this figure who you cannot make out much about them at all, for they are just draped in this dark, musty cloak.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Jaria, and I am so sorry. This is my brother,
Arlathan.
Arlathan, and I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm in such a state. And she like scurries into the shop, like dragging Arlathan behind her. And she's like, I was recommended this place. I'm on a. I need to acquire some diamonds.
Yes. What is your purpose?
Well, it's not really my purpose. It's my boss's purpose. But I'm requiring 2 diamonds necessary for true resurrection.
And who was your employer again?
Sorry, 1 second. I've forgotten all of their names.
Now you can choose one of the Dread Magisters, or you can choose some other high-ranking Magister's name. If you choose one of the other high-ranking Magister's names, based on intel that you have all gathered, I will allow you to make it up, and based on the results of your deception roll, we will see whether that rings true or not.
Okay. I am here on behalf of Magister Mercia.
And roll me.
Matthias Mercia. Deception?
Yes, please.
I would like to use another charge of lucky.
I just realized what you did in writing that down. God damn it.
Matthias Mercia. I don't know what you mean. A deception?
Yes.
23.
Okay. So, I'm gonna roll an insight for them. They give you a kind of cocked. Actually, no, you can't see their expression because it's covered in this hood. Neumann, you do notice that. Actually, Ross, everyone has insane passive perceptions in this campaign.
I took something to make it better.
Yeah.
So.
But yes, you both notice that the hands of this being are small and clawed, much smaller than you would expect for a creature of this stature, for a being of this stature. And they say to you, well, I was not aware that Matthias was working on such a thing, but that is what they request.
Look, but
I should have one such diamond in my stores.
Oh, fantastic. You're a real lifesaver.
They are
Literally and metaphorically.
they are at a premium at the moment.
Of course. Well, you know, no expense spared for Messiah.
Of course. They are currently running at a premium of 35,000 gold. Or, if you would like it already in the scroll, then it could be organized for 50,000 gold.
Can Neumann do an appraisal on the price of a diamond?
You can. You know this is a diamond that is like street value of 25,000 gold. So it'd be more so to see that you weren't being like sold something that will conk out essentially on the spell. This is a markup that comes that the proprietor has based on their premium spot in the city.
Yeah, Neumann gives a nod. Is Ross reciprocating?
Yeah, Ross is like, she looks to Neumann and her eyes are a little bit like, what the fuck? But she's just smiling and she looks back and she's like, fantastic. Well, I will take that one. Do you, a fine proprietor such as yourself, surely, are you aware if there is anywhere else in town that will sell a second one of these? Matthias is truly set his heart on 2.
Diamonds of this value don't just come around every day, darling.
Of course, I just thought I'd check for Magister Messiah's face.
Okay. Can Neumann do something now?
Mhm.
So after hearing that, it's probably time to share how Neumann looks. So whilst Ross might have gone like the PA, the receptionist sort of style, Neumann has gone like the muscle DC worker, distribution center worker. So he's quite toned, quite defined in the body, and he will come up and he will be like, as you probably know, we are Earth Kharasi. We are very in touch with the Earth, and I think I know a good diamond when I see it. Can I please inspect the goods? If this is the only one we can get today, I don't believe Messiah will be happy. So I need to make sure that this is at least a good quality diamond if we cannot find any others.
Roll me a... Ooh. This could apply to... This could be any charisma proficiency, basically, could apply here. I think roll me an intimidation.
That's the worst one you could have said. I would have done so much better in any other one. No, that's fine. Oh, hey.
I believe I said my name was Jania. Would be like, well, I have to agree with my brother here. Let him appraise the diamond. He is very good at his work, and you have bardic inspiration.
I'll take it. Thank you. So the roll was quite bleak. Let's see how we go with our bardic inspiration. That's a D12, yeah?
Yes.
+2.
+2. Ooh, that's a 12. That's nice. So 12, 8. So that's 20, and then Neumann will use his ability on top of that to bring it to a 27.
Okay. Of course. And they proffer the diamond forward, holding tightly to it, but allowing you to see it.
Cool. Neumann will actually inspect it as well, being very careful to be, like, he knows the limits of disguise person. So he's going to be careful not to, like, touch them or anything like that, or do anything that might be suspicious. So he will be inspecting the diamond to see if it is actually worth the amount that they're asking for. He understands that the extra premium on top is like you probably have that money anyways. It's a feel good, you know it's a good diamond, but he wants to make sure. And this is more so an intimidation act to make sure that this is only the only diamond they have.
I was going to ask you to roll an investigation check, but then I saw what your investigation bonus is.
Hey, you can't do that. That's against the rules.
And it's like, don't even bother with the roll. Yeah, this is definitely worth enough for a true resurrection.
Cool. And Neumann will then look up and say, are you sure this is the only diamond you have and that you have not heard of any other diamonds like it nearby?
None of this value, I am afraid.
And what was your name again?
I didn't give it.
May I ask it?
May.
May I ask of your name?
You may.
Did I not say that we're in a bit of a hurry?
You did.
Your name, please.
You may.
That is your name, I get it now. Oh, wow.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Not all of us sitting here like, how long is this going to go on for?
Ross watches this like the world's worst tennis match, realizes what is happening here, and goes, well, shopkeeper Yume, thank you so much. I will be sure to pass on to Magister Matthias Messiah that you have helped us so gratefully in this time.
Of course. Is there anything else I can help you with while you are here?
Not as far as components go. I will get started on that gold for you. And as she starts counting out like her gold, no platinum and all that stuff, she is almost casually kind of going to like pretend to like smooth down her hair as if she's like just, you know, like finally broken through the stress of her rough office day. And she is just going to go, did you hear about that terrible thing that happened in the wilds?
What thing in the wilds?
Did you not hear?
I did not.
It is spreading all through the Magister offices. Apparently, those great, well, great is a strong word. Those are Knights of the Seven from Dorum, killed in a massacre.
Roll me a deception check.
Absolutely! Do I take, this isn't a lie directly pertaining to pretending to be someone else.
No.
Okay, deception. 27.
Okay. That is interesting to hear.
Yes, no one knows how, just apparently an apprentice of Vileblight the Undying found their corpses.
You know which one?
The apprentice or the corpses?
The apprentice.
Ugh. Ross would remember the name. Zoe's struggling. Hold on. Something Burnham? Borax?
Borax Tarika.
Tarika, that's it?
Interesting.
Yes, of course none of us have seen the corpses, but, you know, quite riveting if that has happened, isn't it?
Indeed it is.
Yes.
The meddling can get annoying at times, so it's good to know that it isn't here.
Here they had a great deal many treasures upon them.
Yes, well, there's no accounting for the actual quality of hero, is there?
There is your diamond.
And there is your money.
Thank you.
Matthias thanks you once again. And she puts it in a little bag. And looks to see if Neumann has anything else to say before we leave.
Newman will wait for him to place it on the desk, take it, if it wasn't already taken by Ross, and put it safely somewhere in a bag of holding or something like that. And
Okay,
then
yeah, she'd
we'll
let
go,
him take it.
have a great day, you may.
Farewell.
Farewell. And as you leave Neumann, you could almost swear that you hear the sound of bickering between multiple figures as you depart.
It's kobolds in a trench coat.
See, they're spreading the word.
Yes, well, what else is word for, if not to be spread?
Very clever.
So was that all you were looking for?
That is, in fact, all I was looking for. I will now remove 35,000 gold from my inventory.
Yeah, true resurrection ain't cheap. So, you all gather together in the tavern front to, I guess, have your meeting, your discussion.
Okay. So Anya, she kind of, I guess she sits down, and you might notice she looks a little bit more comfortable than she has been over the past little bit. But she also, there's something different in the way that she's moving, once again, to what it was before. And she sits down and she's like, okay, we've formulated some things, yes, and I know that we don't want to rush anything, but I think we should start thinking about, or talking about, rather, striking. And our next move.
I think that's a good idea.
I think we've built towards it, why not do it?
When shall we strike? Do we need more time?
I do not, but anyone else needs to get any last minute things together? The wizards haven't...
I believe I'm ready. I just think perhaps, do we have any other things that we want to do in the city? Perhaps more influence, perhaps more missions, maybe? I don't know. Or perhaps we could schedule them for our absence, because I feel like once we start this, it's a domino effect, and we can't really take a breather in between.
Fair.
If all goes well, I think that we have allies here. And a safe place, at the very least. But Neumann, if you think we should spend more time, I'll be honest, waiting can be difficult for me. And I worry that if we don't act soon, all that we are doing might be for naught.
I'm sure our friends here can do things in our absence, so I'm pretty sure you're all aware how much I want this, how badly I want this, and yeah, the quicker we do it, the better. Just if there is anything else that anyone would like to do, this is probably the best time to do it, because let's say, for example, we do some sabotage, we kill a Grand Magister, it's not going to take long for them to notice, and things will get harder, and they will look for us.
I think any amount of time we wait, things will also get harder. The time we spend doing small things, while worthy and while helps, our enemies are also doing the same. So I am ready, and if you are all ready.
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Newman's looking at like how Bertie's looking before he goes to do what he's doing.
Bertie's been quite like when he would have been notified to come downstairs and have the meeting and stuff like that. He's just very very upright, but also very closing on himself, and he'd be just sitting at the table like very like seriously. But he's just been mostly quiet. And he just nods like, yeah, no, I'm ready. If we think there's time to start deciding what we're going to do, then we should start doing that.
So are you separated from the group, or are we all chilling around that table?
I presume we're all sitting around at a table, maybe?
Yeah, I'd say that's how I pictured it, is that we were all like sitting there. Sam as well.
True.
So Newman's going to do something really lame, and he's going to put his hand in the middle of the table, arms really outstretched, but he's also going to bring his other hand in with only 2 fingers raised. So he's essentially doing this and putting it in.
Ross will do the same thing with the 2 fingers as well.
So for those of you who can't see, he's essentially got 7 fingers.
Yes.
That's very cute.
And he is like looking at Anya and Bertie with the widest, cutest eyes you have ever seen in your life, waiting and calling for action.
Ross is glaring at Sam, daring him to not do it. And see what happens.
It's so funny.
Yes, Sam places his hands in.
Incredible. Bertie will eventually look at them and then kind of quirk a grin and then just like shake his head a bit, like he's kind of snapping himself out of something. Like, okay, you're all pretty convincing. And then he'll make the same little hand gesture in the little hand pile, the 7-finger pile.
Once this all happens, Neumann, you're probably looking around wondering why Anya isn't putting her hands in.
I think I have a good idea.
And you catch a little glint of something around her neck, and you notice that the contacts are placed back in their little glass vial.
Neumann just goes,
all gone very quiet.
Anya?
Should I be nervous?
Now, I need you to do something for me. And you need to do it quick because this is getting awkward very quickly. I need you to fully outstretch your palm into the middle of the table and then grab another fully outstretched palm, but only raise 2 fingers. Put it on top of the palm and put it on the pile of 7 fingers hands in the middle of the table.
Neumann, if this is a prank and there's mayonnaise involved, we are no longer friends.
If Neumann had a spare hand, he would do like the oh man.
His tail
swears
flicks.
under his breath.
Yeah.
And she does the same and does the weird little 7 thing.
Awesome. And then Neumann will raise his 2 hands, fully outstretch them in the air, and be like, "Okay, guys, let's do this."
Go team!
Cool. What are we doing? Where are we going? You guys have been collecting information. I've been training. Where are we going?
I believe Zelix's lair will be the easiest to undertake without the support of
That's right.
others.
Before we decided on the last mission we did, you guys were calling it the meat dungeon. Excellent. Cool.
Yes. A bit of an unfortunate name, but in my personal opinion, for me, it's one of the biggest threats, personally, I see. And more of the, one of the more achievable ones.
It is if our intel is correct, it is basically a crashed Nautiloid ship that houses a corrupted Mind Flayer colony.
Okay, cool. I have never met a Mind Flayer. What are they like? I don't think I've ever sold anything to one, so far.
No, they don't tend to come to the surface often. They are horrid creatures with immense psychic power and a taste for brains.
Well, at least I'll be safe, so that's great.
Oh.
Can I roll something to see if Anya has fought Mind Flayers before?
Sure.
She's lived a while.
Probably. I'll give you a choice between an Arcana and a History check.
Well, they're both the same, so. Oh, that's an 11.
An 11. You have not personally. You've heard stories from people claiming to have fought Mind Flayers, and have heard rumors of and tales of strange brain-like pets that they supposedly have.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, previous campaign around about the time when Anya suffered the trauma, I believe in that very battle, I believe that party did experience illithids as well, at least one.
Yes. Not during that battle, but yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't during that battle.
Okay.
No.
Cool.
That's why I asked, because I remember that.
I was just thinking they were there, I think.
TPK.
Yeah.
Anyway, cool. Anya's like, okay, well, we should speak to Yadel and tell her of our plans and see if they can offer any more insight into the lair. Tomorrow? Is tomorrow too soon?
But he kind of like looks down at where he's kind of like withdrawn his hands so that it kind of just laced at the table for like a moment, and it's like, yeah, no, tomorrow's fine. I'll be good. I'll be ready then.
Tomorrow works for me.
Perfectly.
Well,
As-
works
as-
for me.
As long as we're sure.
Yeah. Well, actually, while you're all here, before we discuss anything else, and Bertie will reach into, he's got like a little bag, I guess, and he will pull out his new spell book, which I imagine he would have spent some time praying and resummoning. But this one's from Fethys directly, so what would it look like, Darby?
So I imagine probably a lot more kind of subtle in design, though with a small gem probably embedded into the center of the front cover, reminiscent of the Shadow Seal shard. So a deep,
Yes.
dark grey purple color. The edges of the pages are probably similar to the previous one, gilded black, but this time it's more of a jet black than the kind of ashen burnt look of the Zorthmentara tome.
Excellent. And Anya would again get that kind of flash of that new magic that Bertie has around him. Instead of the visual of it, as Bertie funks it down the table, and he's like, nearly a year ago, I got you all to sign your names in my book, and my book got destroyed when the thing happened recently. So I need you guys to sign it again. It's a protective magic thing, so it'll be good. Yes. He procures a quill that has ink floating into it. It is pink, of course.
Anya sighs heavily, but you can sort of tell that it's not like a real lamenting sigh, but she does this heavy sigh and she's like, Bertie, I put them in the jar an hour ago.
Sorry, I sure probably should have waited. I've been pretty busy. That's okay. It doesn't really need to be perfect writing. And he will carefully.
I would have liked to have written it perfect, though. just once. Next spellbook, okay?
Next book, yeah. Next book. And he'll carefully guide it to her.
Yeah, Anya reaches out for the quill and scribbles her signature.
Excellent.
Which her handwriting, I imagine her handwriting to actually be very similar to mine, which I would not say of any other characters of mine. So, 'cause I have very scratchy handwriting.
Yeah. Excellent. Fantastic. And then Bertie will pass it to the next person that is interested and get them to sign it until all three of them, and I guess including Sam, has signed it.
Yeah.
So I guess people do that. Cool.
Yes.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was just going to ask, how much page space is there?
Neumann just goes ahead and writes a novel through the spellbook, and you need a new one.
Like, was a whole page dedicated to it, or just like around like the title page, or What does it look
Oh
like?
yeah, probably. It's a blank page.
The blank page? Yeah, cool. Okay. So, and it's a quill and ink, was it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, I'm not sure if you remember how Neumann sometimes signs things, but
Oh,
he
yeah.
writes his name and then he like tips a fair bit of, well, not a fair bit, but a little bit of ink out onto his palm and presses it in to give a little bit of a paw print, which his hand is quite large. It takes up half the page.
That's so cute.
But he makes sure there's enough room for Sam, who I'm guessing is coming after him. So
Yeah.
Sam's is just as big or as small as it needs to be, and neat.
Excellent. Fair.
Yeah. Ross also would have signed it, and once again it would have been Rivari.
Yeah. Excellent.
cool. Neumann will go clean up. He's made a mess.
Amazing. And Bertie will bring it back. He notably does not sign it. It's just their names. And he kind of just like looks at the page and has a very strange but also very understandable look on his face before he blows on to make sure the ink's dry and then closes it and puts it back in his bag. He's like, cool. Okay. This is just a good safeguard, so should be alright. Cool, if we'll set off tomorrow, then I will go upstairs. I've got stuff to prep.
Dawn?
Or
Done.
Rivari, will you come with me to inform Yadel?
Absolutely.
is there anything in particular you wanted to ask Yadel?
I don't know if Zoe has anything. There wasn't anything particular that Anya would ask that necessarily needs to be RP'd other than, do you have any more intel than what we already know? Does any of your people have experience with Mind Flayers? What are Mind Flayers like?
Yeah. So she.
What should we be aware of?
Yeah. So
that
she.
sort of thing.
Yeah. So she would tell you. There's been a little bit of experience with Mind Flayers. Not a great amount, but they do have some intel. Basically, be very careful. Don't go prodding random brains. And if you can avoid getting your head in their tentacles, then the better. Oh, and watch out for squids. Those can get inside of you and potentially begin a process known as ceramorphosis, which turns you, which is how new Mind Flayers are made.
Rivari, are we sure that we don't just want to give up on your home? I'm joking. And that was a joke.
I know.
It was a bad one.
And
I'm sorry.
to that matter, she would also give you 5 sets of like goggles or visors that you can use to basically seal off your eyes.
Is
Is
there a
this
way to reverse
for
that
like a
process?
sight thing, or
No, this is to protect you from the squids.
there are other
Tat-
orifices? Do they only go through the eyes?
They tend to go through the eyes because it gives a direct path to the brain. with the ocular nerve.
You'd think that the nose would be just as... They don't seem very smart, is all I'm saying.
Ross looks
Like-
queasy.
It's. I mean, you can block your nose as well, but it's a lot easier to seal off the eyes without suffocation.
I can breathe through my mouth. I believe most of the party can. No, that's... I'm sure we'll...
We'll take the goggles. Thank you. Thank you, Yadel.
Just before we go, let's say hypothetically we get our eyeballs.
Neumann.
This whole time he's been like just sitting in the back, but then once everyone was like sealing off eyes and stuff, and then he's like, is there a way to reverse that process? Because that sounds bad.
None that we know of. Beyond the magic of a wish.
Okay. Food knowledge now. Squid, do they like salt? They taste good with salt, yes, but do they like salt? Does it burn them?
That's not a food knowledge, that's an animal knowledge.
They're not literal squids.
I'm imagining
Or
them like
tadpoles,
slugs,
right.
I'll be completely honest. And I'm thinking maybe salt. If we just like cover ourselves in salt, maybe that'll be a deterrent.
You mean like how you would deter ghosts?
No. These things are, as far as I'm aware, are very real.
No, I know. It's...
And I'm hoping they will not want to go into your eyeballs if they're burning all over.
That's certainly an option. But we shall also take the goggles.
Oh, we're taking the
anything else-
goggles, absolutely. But I
Yes,
don't want
and-
to just rely on the goggles, you know?
Exactly.
I'm not sure about you,
exactly.
but that's not how I want to go.
No, not at all. But, I shall. You can all keep discussing how to salt yourselves. I'm gonna go hand these out to the rest of the group. And then Ross is going to go and give a set of goggles to Samuel. And I'm assuming at this point Bertie's probably gone up to his room.
Yeah, he would have.
Yeah. Okay. Then Ross would go up to do. Yes, Ross would go up to Bertie's room, and she would. Bertie.
Bertie will. You kind of hear like Sanson like standing up quickly and then pattering over. Surprise! It's Bertie. He opens the door, just pokes his head out curiously, like, "Oh, sorry, did I leave too early?"
Oh, no. In talking to Yadel, we got more information about the Mind Flayers. I just thought I'd impart it to you. Don't go poking any brains. Keep your head out of tentacles. Watch out for the squids, because they will... watch out for the squids, because they will turn you into Mind Flayers. We have special goggles, so the squids don't attempt to come in through our eyes. Because they do that. Neumann
They
and
just
Anya,
like eyes, or is it any orifice?
Neumann and Anya are currently working that out, and also whether or not we should salt brine ourselves, basically, before we go into battle.
Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I just thought I'd drop those off for you. Make sure you have them and have all the info.
Cool. Crawling through your eyes. Excellent.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. He takes the gloves off Ross. Like, cool. All right. I'll prepare myself for that then, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. This will be fine. Yep.
Yeah, totally. Also, I'm really sorry for being weird. And then she starts to walk away.
Incredible. He's like, no problem. Sorry, I'm very weird at the moment too.
Cool. Good. So we're
If I will
both.
be honest, I feel uncomfortable talking about dying because that fucked you up for a long time. That's something you used to get teary about when we have drinking parties, so I don't want to bring it up to you. Nothing personal. It's similar to me not wanting to talk about my partner not being here right now, to Anya. I just know what is hard for people, so I don't want to make it hard for them. That's not something that's bad. I'm not bottling it up. I just don't want to raise it to people who are still fucked up about it. So yeah, cool.
That's incredibly, overwhelmingly kind of you. Just sorry, I was really weird that first day and didn't help. But thank you.
It's fine. It's okay.
And if you want to talk about things that aren't that, my door's always open anyway.
Yeah, no problem. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It'll be okay. Sorry I've been weird. I retreat into myself when stuff goes bad. I do that with Kharas, so I do that with everything. But
Hey,
it's been weird.
if anyone gets it, it's me, I guess. That's
It's true. And again, yes, some of the stuff that happened I can't talk about. I wasn't there when that happened to you, but it was different, I think, to me. So
yeah.
something I don't want to really think about at the moment. But yeah, no, things will be good. If you want to talk about something else at some point, let me know. But otherwise, I'll be doing some training. I'm gonna be ready this time.
Yeah. My same to you.
Yeah.
And if you want any extra help, I've got some stuff that can give you an edge. Right before we go in. So
Well, I mean, if you want to give me any kind of booze, I'd be very happy for. I've been kind of throwing myself into all this. That always takes the edge off. So yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, it's good. It's fine. It's not weird. It's just how it is for all of us at the moment. But it'll be okay. I'll keep you all safe.
And we'll keep you safe. That's what we do.
Yeah,
And
of course.
she reaches out and pats his shoulder and just gives the little squeeze. And then has a weird little look on her face and just goes, "Can I hug you?"
Oh, his ears kind of flick back a bit and then flick up, and then he looks down at the ground for her. He's like, yeah, I'd like that.
Good. And she gives him a big squishy hug.
Oh,
And kind of does the one where you
into
lean,
that a bit, yeah.
yeah, leans her cheek on his head a bit and pats his hair a bit.
He does one of those little like when you're trying to hold you're about to cry and you hold that in again, and then just kind of breathes in deeply, and then he does reciprocate the hug, and then he will detangle himself.
Yep. Well, once we're into the breach, eh?
Yeah, I'll see you in the morning, I guess.
I'll see you in the morning. Red suits you, by the way.
Bertie flushes red. And then nods a bit yeah, I'm getting used to it. It'll be fine. This is normal for Ladrin, so it'll be good. I think it does to me, kind of. So,
Yeah.
we'll see. Been blue for a year, so now it's time for a change, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
after all, having a drastic hair dye is always a good way of dealing with anything, so I suppose. There we go.
mean, depending on how this mission goes, celebratory hair dye party. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I need a different tone of pink now. It's like, assuming I still can't dye pink properly, it's not going to bleach out like the other one I did. So, but yeah, absolutely. We can all dye our hair. It'll be great. I think Neumann would look great with like a streak of blue in his fur or something like that,
Oh,
Yeah,
he'd
that'd
look
be
so
great.
good with a streak of blue.
Yeah.
I've been thinking black.
Black? That'd be
Maybe.
interesting.
Half
Does
and
your ma
half.
have black hair?
Dark purple.
Dark purple. Yeah, well, there you go. Black's nice. Would look pretty good.
Yeah.
I wonder if we could get Anya to... I wonder what color Anya would approve of.
Ooh.
You're acting like Anya doesn't have dyed green hair.
She's already got green hair. Yeah.
She's already had the trauma, baby.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, yeah, well, she's probably already sold on green, but who knows? Maybe, I don't know, bubblegum pink would look quite nice.
Maybe one red braid.
Oh, absolutely, because I've got to check in on her about Rook, actually. But that would
Yeah.
match, wouldn't it? Oh, sorry, I'm being silly. Well, then you'll have to see if you can
That's
get
good.
Sam to dye his hair too. It'll be great. We can all have this some horrible... We survived not having our orifices invaded by squids party. It'll be great.
Honestly, if there's any reason to dye your hair, it's not getting invaded by a squid.
This is true. This is true. Boy, I am, yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
Yeah. I'll make sure someone brings you up lunch later, but I'll
Yeah, that'd be nice. I've
good
got
luck with your training.
more training to do. Yeah. I gotta be good at this. So
Good luck with it.
Thank you. Good luck with whatever you're doing. Not talking to Sam, of course. Yes.
Maybe when we're dyeing our hair.
Absolutely. That sounds like a good time
Yeah.
for it. Perfect.
All right.
And Bertie kind of like dips his head, like, thanks, Rabari. Have a good night.
You too, Bertie.
He
And
dips
off
back
she
into his room. And I will actually, I guess, describe a little bit as well. Whoever we're staying near Bertie, but I imagine probably at least Anya over the last couple of days would be able to hear and piece this together. How Bertie's been spending most of his days, because the other three were kind of like working on intrigue stuff and like their own things. I'd be curious to know what other like little things they've been doing. But for Bertie, he was, as we figured out, he's been kind of number one, he has been very reluctantly using sending to check in on his staff to see how his shop is going. I assume it has not burnt down, Darby.
No, it's in. Yeah, it's going reasonably well.
Cool.
Like
'Cause
there's been no like big amazing sales, but
that's fine.
It's doing business.
As they've discussed, Bertie is getting them to give them their finance reports. Excellent. He has also spent his time praying, which is strange for Bertie because he's never had a great relationship with religion. But he's trying to get back into having a bit more of an okay relationship with God, maybe. But
Back
he's
in
been
the
doing
habit.
that too. Oh God. DM disinspiration for you, Darby. But yes, it's been praying to kind of focus that magic into resummoning his book, which is what he showed everyone. But yes, I'd say at least Anya would be able to hear. Most mornings, Bertie spends like either most mornings or periods after any kind of slumber, sort of waking up in a blind panic, would be able to pass this, but clutching his neck, his stomach, and then whipping around to look for something, someone, breathing hard, breathing harder as his brain catches up with instinct. He spends time quiet, presumably going over magic, testing how everything feels reshaped, frantically trying to shape new spells that will help. He spends time, as he said, training on a training dummy that just appeared in Bertie's room. He didn't ask anyone for one, so who knows where he got it from, much like a mirror that appeared at another point. Training sounds fierce and heavy and a bit reckless, but it has that same finesse of his training in the past, which he did a bit while Anya was staying at his house. But it kind of, I imagine, over the time skip here, he'd been doing training sometimes and then kind of petered out because he didn't need to do any combat. But then he'd go through bouts of where he would want to do that, or he might have even asked Anya to train with him for a bit. And similarly with Kharas as well. But that's he hadn't been doing as much, but this is the same kind of finesse, just a lot more intense. So those are the sorts of noises that people would hear. And he's also been spending time, I suppose he would have also been at some point manifested a blade, dagger, I believe, as a gift from Fethus, which is, yeah.
And you So you can merge that blade into any weapon you have, if you so desire, or you can just simply have it as an offhand weapon if you choose to forego Kaiser's shield.
Well, that's not going to happen. So Bertie's going to spend some time with that as well. And yeah, Bertie is, as with like the weight shift of how he's been doing training, it makes it very clear he's trying to learn how to use a shield. So there we go. That's what Bertie's been doing. I just wanted to mention that.
Anya would have still been spending a lot of time up on the roof. She has been catching sleep every now and then. However, it's more during the day or early morning that she'll take her trance. While they have been in this place, and of an evening she has still been listening intently, and as much as she has extended some trust to Yadel, she has still been trying to observe and listen throughout the night for any ways that may change, and any form of discourse within the ranks themselves, etc., while also keeping an ear out for Bertie in particular, and how he has been managing, and when she can hear that he's keeping busy and that he's training, she relaxes a little bit more. And while she does still leave Bertie food without asking, or has stuff delivered up to his room, she does it a little less forcefully in the way that it isn't an abundance. It's just like a regular normal amount of meals, and it's her own little way of backing off a little bit.
All right.
Does she pick anything up, Darby?
Probably nothing significant.
Yeah.
No.
It's only been a couple of days, so.
Yeah. Anything else before we go to the next morning and into the Nautiloid?
Could Neumann fashion together a signet ring by any chance? It's just adventuring gear.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that's definitely something that you could easily do.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That's it. And then something will happen in the morning when he wakes up.
Okay.
An infusion.
All right. So, you get to the next morning, and you all meet at dawn. So, who is the first to speak?
We all stand there silently looking at each other because none of us want to speak. No, I can imagine Anya would have actually taken her trance at a reasonable hour. This time, probably a cheeky little 12 till 4 a.m. deal, and she's up with and has had food already. And as soon as she sees the others, not sees, but as soon as she can hear the others approaching and coming down, she sort of goes up to each of them and she's like, "You've eaten and you have everything you need, yes?"
Of course.
All prepared.
Yeah, I've had something. I need to do one thing before I go, but I'm pretty much ready.
Of course. Do you need help?
No, it'll be okay.
Okay.
I need to talk to someone real quick.
Neumann?
That won't take long.
Oh, of course. Neumann, have you eaten? Are you ready?
Yeah, no, good to go, good to go. You'll see that Neumann is stuffing some things into his bag. One kind of looked like a lantern, and then he put a ring on his finger, which is a ring with lots of, I'm guessing just a lot of, like, arcane scribes around the ring.
Neumann just out here proposing to himself real subtly.
Yeah, look, now, I know that I don't really have the room for it right now. I was tossing and turning between it, and I think I'm just going to leave it for now. But I have this ring if anyone wants it, and maybe, Ross, this would work for you. It is one of those items that you have to spend a bit of time with. Then maybe it's a bit late to give it to you now, simply because we're about to go do something dangerous. But maybe if you spend a night with this, it'll just refresh one spell slot. I know it's not much, but it's just something that I thought I'd investigate. And yeah, it turns out it's going to be one of those magic items that you sort of have to become quite familiar with it. So yeah, it'll give you back one spell slot of 3rd or lower. Would that be of benefit to you at all?
Oh, it could be. I would have to unattune from something else, but
Yeah, that's what I mean. Does the pro outweigh the con of replacing it with something else?
I have something I could use it if no one else needs it. But yeah, I'll do that tonight.
Awesome. Neumann will give you a spell refueling ring.
Aww.
So he takes it off his finger and he gives it to you. And yeah,
Bertie
no, apart
tucks
from that,
next
he's
to
all good to
Anya
go.
and describes this to Anya.
So yeah, I'm all eaten, ready to go. Wanted to make sure I'd be up nice and early this morning, so I went to bed early last night. How's everyone else doing?
Fit as a fiddle.
It is a fiddle? Excellent. Well, what's the plan? Just walk in, fight some squids, salt some faces.
We spoke about this. I don't think the salt thing is anything, Neumann. But if you want to salt yourself, that's... I won't stop you.
I mean, it's a
Well-
more preferable condiment than like mayonnaise, so I suppose if it's salt, that's fine. Less sticky for the fur.
Darby, can we please have it so that Neumann organized last night to take like a fair bit of salt from the tavern that we're staying in, like organized, not stealing. I imagine salt isn't that hard to come by.
Just
but,
took the complimentary salt sachets.
yeah, just so everyone's aware, I have got salt for everyone if you change your mind, and I will be testing my theory. I feel like I'm quite confident.
Okay. Well, can't hurt, I guess.
I'm just trying to see. So, you manage to be able to have just a small pound bag of salt. So that's about a little under half a kilo.
Yep, that's fine with me.
Neumann, I commend your innovative thinking. You are always so innovative. I appreciate that about you, and I need you to know that when I say what I'm about to say next, it is not coming from a place of meanness or of lack of respect for you. Yes?
Yes.
Have you ever been to the ocean?
Yes.
What mayhaps is the ocean made out of? It is
Salt water.
Salt water, yes. And do you know where squids are most commonly found?
Yeah, in the ocean.
Yes. Okay, as long as you know that, going in, this is going to be I suppose it can't hurt.
But just think, Anya, concentrated salt. Salt that has been processed. And as far as we're aware, these squids might not be the same kind of squids we're talking about. In fact, I could almost guarantee they're not the same kind of squids.
I'm just saying I've never heard of a squid being impervious to... it's worth a shot. I just needed to establish that you did know that.
Yes, thank you. And yes, I was telling myself that for about 2 hours last night, that it is worth a shot. We're talking about irreversible tentacle disease. So I don't particularly want to... that's what we're dealing with. So I'm going to take every avenue I can to avoid being in that situation.
Okay. Meanwhile, Bertie, what was your thing that you need to do?
But he's gonna really quickly duck out. I forgot to mention also he's got his backpack. He's got he was just like in pretty casual plain clothes for the last couple of days. But he is all ready and he's got like his armor on. He's got his little backpack. He's kind of found a way for at the moment to like chuck Kharas's shield on, which would look pretty ridiculous because it's big on his like back at this point. And he's got his coat on as well, but he's like excused himself and he's ducked off really quickly to the stables.
Okay.
Yeah, he just he is going to quickly locate Teddy.
Alright. Yeah, you're able to find Teddy easily enough.
Excellent. And he like pops in and is like, hey, I don't even know if you can understand me, but I think we get it. Sorry I haven't checked in before. I heard apparently Neumann was having a chat with you at some point. But you know what's happened. Yeah? He pops in close and he pats like nozzle like a nose pat. Bertie knows Teddy very well. He went to get him. And he's flown on Teddy frequently. Caius and Bertie have gone flying just around Durham. They've gone on like little camping trip, and like Bertie's flown next to Teddy and stuff like that. They've spent a lot of time together. So Bertie kind of just like pats him and then just kind of like presses his like forehead up against like Teddy's forehead, I suppose.
Yep.
A very true horse girl moment, I suppose. And he's like, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna get him back. I'm gonna go away for a bit, but I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna bring all of Caius' friends back safely, and then I'm gonna get Caius. I can't get him yet, but I feel like he's still alive, and that means that I need to go get him. So when that happens, I'll let you know, okay? But not this time. So you gotta stay here and be safe. But I promise you, we're gonna be together again, okay? Okay, you hang tight. These are pretty cramped stables. My goodness, Mulesley would hate it here. You take care, okay? We'll get him back. I gotta believe that. And then, Bertie will probably have saved something from Anya's fruit basket. I can't remember what Teddy likes eating. I'm pretty sure it's whatever. Because unfortunately, again, he has spent time around Bertie and Caius. And Bertie has strange ideas of what horse-like creatures like to eat. And Caius is Caius. So maybe an apple, I don't know, that he's carefully cut up, which is what you should do for a horse. And he gives him that, and then he kind of just like nods. He's like, okay, I'll be back. And then he's gonna go rejoin the party.
All right. So you'll regroup and make your way towards the center of the city. And can I get everyone to roll me stealth checks as you make your way towards Alex's lair?
It'll come up as a 22 on Beyond, but it's a 27 because of Anya's thingy.
That's a 24 for Ross. Courtesy of my new dice.
19 for Bertie, with advantage using the coat that Neumann made for him, which he would have had to turn inside out real quick.
You are muted, Jake.
Yeah, Jake, you're muted, and
Neumann
Bertie in stealth mode now. Stealth.
So Neumann uses guidance and rolls a 33 as well.
So very appropriate that you are muted.
Yeah.
Jake just disappeared from existence. He rolled that high.
But he will use this opportunity just to check how everyone's going, stealthily. And if he sees anyone like falling behind, he will instead use guidance on them. Hang on, no, I don't believe he can do that. Can he? Can he use guidance on other people?
You can't.
No.
Well, you can, but it's not a. It's a preemptive thing. You can't.
Oh no! For the next, if there's any further stealth checks.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you managed to make it to the center of the city, and you're able to access through careful timing to avoid the patrolling guard. Are able to get quick access to the portal into Zalex's lair.
Okay. What does it look like?
Yeah, what do we see upon sticking our little faces through?
Also, people near Bertie would notice he's very tense before we go through the portal.
So the tower, or the kind of small building that leads into the area is kind of a deep blue with these purple tendrillous tentacles kind of wrapped around it, meeting and overlapping at the front to form almost like a door. And you look through and pass through the door to see this. It's almost like if any of you have ever seen like insides. It's like you're on the inside of like of an intestine. Almost. It is fleshy. It is round. But there's also sort of mechanical elements to it as well, as there are these sort of fleshy, tendrillous sections of piping that kind of jut in and out of sections of the wall, affixed with iron bands. And can I get a marching order?
Okay, well, meat dungeon was an accurate term. You guys predicted correctly.
I truly wish we hadn't.
This does not seem pleasant.
No.
No. Anya, we're probably lucky you can't see right now. Basically, think, well, you've killed lots of things in very terrifying ways. Guts.
Yeah.
Being in them.
The magic here feels nauseating, so I can only imagine what it looks like.
Oh,
Well, actually, quickly then, Bertie will, when Anya says that, because he's probably like leaning close to everyone to whisper about the gross intestine walls, he's like, hey, well, hopefully this will work. I can't concentrate on this forever, but maybe it'll just help you for a little bit. And he, touches Anya's wrist in a similar way to how he usually touched, like, Kharas and be like, you're getting healed. No question. And he's like, it's okay. Just a little spell. Maybe this will...
If I don't want you to use your spell slots.
It won't. It's just a cantrip.
Use your magical energies, whatever canonical way they would say that isn't meant.
Yeah. Bertie is just going to cast guidance on Anya. It's basically just so that, which is just guidance, but it's basically just like, does that feel a bit better?
Yes, I can.
Or is it like when you like try to take something because you just had something gross and it's like actually worse because it's like too sweet after?
No,
way, I can drop concentration anytime.
No, it's comforting, like having a friend there, which I guess it is.
Good. That's what I hoped it would do. He just pats her on the arm and then steps back. So we marvel at the horrible meat dungeon.
Neumann first in marching order. He's not phased. You essentially get the feeling like, if you're looking at me, it's just like he like shrugs it off, like, yeah. Been in worse situations. I've stayed the night in a bear's gut before, kind of thing. Like, whatever. But you guys,
Newman's just nasty.
But as if we are entering the dungeon, Neumann will put on the mask, and he will also salt his blade. Sir.
Okay.
Anya will similarly, she'll put on her goggles, or visor, whatever it is. She's also going to reach into her pack and rip up just a couple of pieces of cloth, and she's going to stick them up her nose.
Fair. So where in the marching order roughly will Anya be?
Unless there are any arguments from Rivari, Sam, or Bertie, Anya will probably go more towards the back to sort of protect behind them. And she falls back and is like, I will keep an ear out in case anyone. Well, I should be able to hear the portal if something
Good.
happens.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah. I'll go in the middle, and then that way I can cover both bases. So if anyone needs help, I will be there. Because I'm a pretty good swordsman, actually. So yeah, this will be fun.
Yeah.
And Ross, where do you want to fall in the...
She would also be in the middle.
Yeah.
Dealer's choice as to whether she's in front or behind of Bertie. I'm assuming that she would probably tell Sam to like go on the other side of Bertie, so Bertie is truly in the middle.
Yep.
So I'm assuming Neumann, Sam, Bertie, Ross, Anya.
Yeah,
Probably.
Neumann, Sam, Bertie, Ross, Anya. Yes.
Yep. And then Ross is also very quickly going to look at Bertie and just kind of go for a bit of an edge and just kind of tap his shoulder, and she's casting protection from evil and good.
All right.
Oh, thank you.
Since Mind Flayers count as aberrations.
Yes, they do.
Ah, yes.
So that gives
nice.
Bertie advantage on any attacks, and gives the Mind Flayers disadvantage. And also, it didn't cost her a spell slot because it's through her tambourine, so.
Heck yeah, thank you. I will write that down.
All right.
People will also kind of notice as a feeling, people that are closest to Bertie, like within about 10 feet of him, just feel a little bit more capable for some reason. Just feel a bit of that strange energy that's radiating off him. Just a little bit more capable. Find out if we get to use that at any point. But it's just another strange magic feeling that everyone's feeling. So I think it's probably really a smorgasbord right now.
All right.
I think Anya would probably be clinging a little bit to the feeling of Bertie's magic and the familial over the gross magic she feels around her. And in a very... maybe a few months ago, it would have all been very overwhelming, but I think because she's spent that much time with Bertie, instead of being overstimulated by all of the magic, she is able to focus on the comfort of his magic. For the time being, anyway.
So, as you travel along this kind of tubular corridor, you notice a couple of things. One, there are quite a few of these kind of additional sections of piping that kind of jut out from the walls and the floor at different points. But there are also these purple crystal-like formations at different points along the way as well.
We don't see. Bertie's also going to be, forgot to mention as well, we're going to be keeping a close eye out to make sure there's no, like, security little cams or anything like that. The fantasy security cameras, little red crystals.
Roll me an investigation check.
Okay. Well, that was not good. His investigation is a +6. Okay, 15.
15. Okay. So you don't see any sort of security here, like the security that you saw in Kira's lair.
Cool. Excellent.
However-
Bertie looks a little bit more relieved, but he's still very on edge.
However, you do notice skittering around, jutting from crystal structure to crystal structure, what appears to be a brain with 4 legs.
Hey, everyone, Sam, Neumann. Sam, pass it us onto Neumann. There's something over there.
What do you think it is?
It's like, it just starts, it's like a rat, but it's like a brain. It is a brain, I'm pretty sure. That was on the checklist of things.
Yes.
Everyone, there's a brain wandering around. Just a heads up.
Should we kill it? I feel like we should kill it.
I believe they said don't go poking brains. Perhaps
Good
this is
point.
what they meant.
There should be, the Concord should be a lot more specific, because like poking could mean like poking with a finger, or it could mean poking with an arrow, like, that's very, very vague. Either way, be careful. It's kind of skittering around.
Yeah.
Also, there's a lot of weird flesh pipes on the walls that look a bit like something. So that's just, I just gotta mention that. It's very weird.
What?
Thank you for the visual, Bertie. I usually very much appreciate when you describe things for me. Maybe don't while we're here,
Yeah, no, it's
unless
fair.
it's vital to my life.
Absolutely. You don't want to I will stop talking about that or making any comparison to my toy collection. Okay, cool.
Oh wow. Would Newman have any knowledge of these brains? Would Trakar perhaps have mentioned anything about these brains or anything like that?
Roll me an Arcana check.
Absolutely. That is a 26.
26. So these brains, you would have heard of them as things called intellect devourers. And they basically are they were described earlier as pets. That's putting it lightly. They're pets, but they're also spies of sorts. So they will essentially replace the brain so they will devour the brain of a potential host and replace the brain within the body and puppet it.
And they, I guess as you say, pets, I'm guessing they take orders. Do they think independently or?
No. So, independent thought is very, very rare for Mind Flayer colonies. They are a hive mind, quite literally, typically with an elder brain at the center.
And can they see?
Yes.
Right.
Sort of. They have a sort of blind sight.
Blind sight. And one more thing I'll try and fish out. Communication. Can they make a noise? Can they communicate? Hive mind, sort of.
They have a degree of telepathy.
Okay. So, just so you're aware, we really don't want to deal with these things if we can avoid it. They're part of a hive mind. Now, I'll say that Neumann is talking through the open channel.
That's right, we have those.
Yeah, they're part of a hive mind. They can talk through a sense of telepathy. However, they can't see much. Essentially, they can see you when you're very close or when they run into you. I won't tell you what they're used for mainly, but essentially they're spies for the Illithids. So if we can avoid them, we should.
Okay, cool. We better be very careful then.
Quick question to Darby. How well lit is the hallway?
Not particularly. Like, it's not dark, but it's not bright either. Like, it's fairly dim lighting here. It's not
Okay,
so dark
dim
that
light.
you're having to. It's not so dark as you're basically looking grayscale as an elf, but
Yeah.
it is quite dim.
Excellent. Cool. When I find the future, I will bring that up. But for now, other people can do things.
So yeah, we can still see relatively okay, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you do notice as you walk through that there are different points within the corridor where it's sort of there are sort of almost like fleshy irises, of like a camera or a similar mechanism that can potentially open up. And in fact, you notice them a couple of times from the shadows. You notice occasionally an intellect devourer will duck past and through one of these sections that will open as this circular doorway and close up as it goes past again.
Do I even want to know what that noise is?
I mean, I didn't want to say it, but it, you could...
I think those are the doors.
Okay, I've got to say, they kind of look like...
You actually don't have to say it. You actually...
I got the picture from the toys comment. So the flesh wall...
Yeah. Opening up.
And their doors.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to go through those doors to get to where we need to go?
I mean, you guys are the spies, but, we may have to. They look... Hopefully they're not sticky. I guess we'll find out.
And Ravari, Neumann, you definitely like Kharas. Yes, you don't want Kharas to fall to destruction. You're sure about that?
I am less sure with every passing second. Anya says, and then I'm not Anya. Ross says that. And she then broadcasts through the earrings like,
If I'm Anya and you're Anya, who's driving the bus?
She does the equivalent of like the /J, like in her thoughts when she says that.
Okay, so along this kind of twisting corridor, there are, other than the one that you entered through, there are 3 kind of portways. 3, for want of a better word, sphincters. Which
There has to be a better word. There has to be. There's
I'm sure there's plenty of better words.
Sphinctors?
Hey, there we go. That's better.
Sphinctors.
Oh, he
Okay,
holds
that's
up
pretty
Roger's
funny.
thesaurus to the camera. Bertie, however, has a very strange look on his face while we're looking at these.
The mayonnaise episode just feels like nothing. Like what was that? There was nothing.
So, there are 3 of them. The furthest one and the closest one from the entrance are wider than the one in the middle of the 3. This is
Bertie
opens
his mouth but says nothing.
This is the episode that breaks us.
I will say briefly, Bertie will be like,
Okay, I will not describe the things I'm thinking right now. Instead, I'm just gonna give everyone a heads up that I'm gonna try a thing but I will still be here, okay? If it works. Just as a heads up. And then anyone that looks at Bertie, he's going to kind of, number one, he's going to swoop up his sword with a spell slot first. Because I keep forgetting to do that out of combat. And I presume we will have some flesh-based combat. Bertie presumes this anyway. So I'm going to swoop it up, most likely with Radiant, because that's most of the magic I have. Yeah, no, Radiant, we'll do that. And then he is going to kind of like find a way to like hold that carefully, and with the other hand he's going to do the two-fingered tush. And he's going to like focus really hard, like he's been training for a little while, and he's going to disappear, because I have one with the shadows, which is in dim or dark lighting. I become invisible. You're using an action. It's a gift from Fethus.
Yeah.
So there we go. I presume that works, and Bertie just like kind of like the black, similar to pretty much what Bertie used to do ages back when he had the little dust spell that made everyone like blend in with the shadows. Bertie kind of like just like shadows just like weave around him, and then he is not visible anymore. And then in the earrings is like still here, so don't worry.
Well, that is a good trick.
Yeah, I've been working on some stuff. Anyway, which horrible, disgusting orifice do we want to walk through first?
Probably the biggest one, I'd say. Just at a guess.
Probably a good idea. We
I
do
would
that.
rather not go through any, but the big one sounds fine. I guess.
Right.
Okay. So I guess we
Sam is
approach-
just silent with disgust.
Yeah. Yep. So the biggest one is probably the one at the furthest end of the corridor. And so you make your way through. And you notice the doorways don't open as you pass them.
I do just want to take this moment to commend you, Darby, for really, truly, and sorry to any of you that are using audio only, but for truly making the map tiles look like an intestine in just the worst way possible. Like, it's too realistic, and the red lighting too. Just
Yeah, it's amazing what can be
delicious.
done
Very
with
good.
and terrible.
with like curved warlock tiles and a pink light.
And strange things you have attached to the walls that look
Yes.
very phallic.
Yeah, and we progressed in the physical setup you got there.
Yeah.
Or are we still where we are?
So yeah, so you can progress through. And yeah, so getting through to that last door, as I said, there is, yeah, the doors do not immediately open for you.
So, our options are to pierce through, wait for another brain to pass through, and go through at the same time, hopefully without being detected, or perhaps waiting for one to get through and somehow holding it open.
Oh,
Feel free to suggest other ideas, but that's all I got. They don't open for
I
us.
think maybe if we're on guard, we can wait for a brain.
Let's go with option number 2 then.
okay, yep.
Sounds like the least gross option for now.
Again, I totally won't describe what this looks like, but you can guess, Anya.
I appreciate your silence, Bertie. Just this once.
How long did the door stay open for when we observed the brain going through earlier?
There would have been enough time for you to make your way through it.
And how thick did the door seem?
Probably about maybe 4 inches.
Okay.
The door itself, like the diameter of the door, of the doorway itself is probably about, it would be big enough for any of you to pass through though.
Cool. Alright, we'll go with that. Everyone be as stealthy as you can. We do need to get pretty close to a brain. Alright,
Okay.
I'm ready. Neumann will keep on casting guidance on himself for any checks that he needs to do. Because he's up the front. Is Bertie, who's behind Neumann again?
Sam is directly behind Neumann, then Bertie, then Ross, then Anya.
And how did Sam go last? Last stealth check.
He did pretty well. Like
Cool. Yep. He'll
yeah.
just use it on himself.
Cool. Okay. All right.
Wait.
So, look. These things are incredibly dangerous, but they are also incredibly fragile. So, you would be more than capable as a group of like immediately stopping one if you wanted to. So, the question is, are you going to watch for it to pass, or are you going to kill it as it comes past?
Neumann had the intention of waiting for it to go past, and we simply follow it. Hopefully not alerting anything else.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was the plan, was for us to stealthily stay out of its way.
All right.
The less notice
then-
we can give, the better.
Yeah.
Follow it.
So eventually a brain skitters past. Just so, yeah, no, I won't ask you to roll for that. I rolled pretty poorly on its perception. Not noticing you. And yeah, and you're able to very quickly follow its trail to enter into the next room beyond it, which, let me grab my notes up for it.
Over the earrings, everyone would hear gross, 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 gross.
All right. So,
Again, I'm gonna make no comment.
It's just, oh, it's unpleasant.
all right. So, the room that you enter now has one entrance that you can see from here, but also a couple at kind of higher heights that you can't naturally traverse to. Neumann, you're aware that Illithid can float and fly, so they probably traverse through those in that fashion. In this room, there are several sections of this same piping that you have seen throughout. There is also, the biggest thing you notice is a large sort of circular pool opposite, on the side opposite the door. And that is slightly protruding up over the top of it is you can see the top of a giant brain.
I think we found the elder brain.
Okay, gross. This is very gross.
Yeah.
That's a big brain.
You notice the elder brain, oh, not the intellect devourer skitter up to the elder brain and then skitter back along the walls and up through one of the upper doors.
Right. Is there any information Neumann might know on the elder brain? Because he knows about the little brains. Maybe they're a little bit dumber, but the elder brain perhaps has a little bit more abilities to itself.
Okay. Yeah, so roll me an Arcana check.
Absolutely. So this one is a 23.
Okay.
He's mainly going for how sneaky do we need to be around this, and should we take care of this now or later?
Okay. So most elder brains are simply from what you've heard, most elder brains would have been aware of you the moment you entered. They are aware of creatures within 5 miles of them with any sort of meaningful intelligence. They are quite dangerous. Probably not as dangerous as Zelix themselves, but still quite dangerous. They are typically the central hive mind of the Illithid colony, and are fairly immobile. Not completely, but fairly immobile.
This big brain. If Neumann, you said they were a hive mind, right?
Yeah, this is the one, most likely.
If we, and she's saying this over the earrings, I just very specifically want to know, if we kill the big brain, does that damage the small brains? Would it be worth us? It might make things easier.
Perhaps, but
Or will it
why are we
bring-
here?
We're here for Zelix. There's every chance that killing the Elder Brain just means we bring the hive to us.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. Another door then?
To be honest, I'm not sure why, but this should be aware of us right now. But as far as Newman's aware, it's not giving off any signals that it knows we're here.
Not at this stage, no.
So we should move on quickly.
And if it knows we're here, that kind of defeats the purpose of keeping away from the little ones.
Does concern me somewhat.
Cool. So Newman's going to do a quick take around the room. There's no other entrances or exits.
Unless you've got access to flight or levitation, no.
He does.
Okay, in that case, there are 2 doors up, basically on the ceiling. Where they lead to, you don't know.
You touch a willing creature. The target gains. So it's only one person. Does anyone else have fly or levitate or anything like that?
I do.
I've got.
We can always just go back and try the other doors. Maybe they all lead here.
To go back, we have to wait for another raid to come through.
Darby,
Yes.
considering we've now seen several little brains skittering about. Is there any kind of consistency as to how they open the doors? Is it like a sensor, or is there like a certain little way their little legs skitter that
It
activates
appears
something?
it appears that they basically appear by the door. It opens for them, then it closes briefly after they depart.
Brain Club.
Brain club. I could potentially try something harmless that would not indicate any kind of harm but might be able to get us out quickly.
We can give it a try.
I've just realized there's a loophole in another spell I have that might,
Ooh, loopholes are fun.
but I don't know if I want to do that.
Well, we will take a break, and then when we get back, we
Okay.
can decide, because we've been going for a bit here.
See you next
So,
week, everyone.
See you next week.
Yeah,
everyone.
see you next week.
Sorry,
everyone.
Start next
so
week.
Bye.
sorry for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
That I will just note very quickly, and we will have to cut this particular bit out. Darby, your typing is so loud. I don't know what your sound settings are on, but it is so
You're
loud.
gonna have to like cut your audio channel throughout.
So it's not going to be coming through my audio feed. It's the
Okay.
nightmare setup of Zoom.
Okay, as long as it's not
Yeah.
through your feed, because
Yeah.
that's over all the important dialogue.
Yeah.